Hello everyone, my name is Rahul. In the previous video, we had discussed about transgenic animals. In this video, we are going to discuss about ethical issues that are related to biotechnology. So, in biotechnology, what we are essentially doing is we are manipulating the living organisms by manipulating their genes. This can have very adverse effects on the environment. Let us take an example. So, for example, if we grow a crop which is resistant to a certain pest, such as a BT cotton. So, BT cotton, it will be resistant against cotton bollworms. But somehow, this gene for BT cotton, this gene for the toxin production, can be transferred to the wild variety of the plant through pollen grains. Now, this wild variety will also be resistant to the cotton bollworm. Now the cotton bollworm, it cannot feed on the cultivated plant, and now it can also not feed on the wild plant. So the population of cotton bollworm will decrease. Now this is not good for the environment because each species has got to play a certain role in the environment. Therefore, the use of genetically modified organisms creates some ethical issues, that there has to be a certain limit which we cannot cross. There has to be a boundary line present beyond which we cannot go while manipulating the genes of organisms. So the manipulation of living organisms, it cannot go any further without regulation, without regulations. These regulations are known as bioethics. These regulations are known as bioethics. So bioethics means ethics that are concerned with any application of biology in the real life. They are known as bioethics. And going beyond the morality of such issues, the biological significance of such things is also important. We cannot go beyond these ethics. Every experiment that we do, it has to be approved by a certain committee. Its impact on the environment has to be measured beforehand, and then only we can perform any experiment. For example, in the previous videos, I had talked about editing the human embryo where HIV resistant embryos were produced. So, for example, we produce a lot of human embryos which are HIV resistant. So, it might lead to mutations in HIV virus such that the virus becomes much more lethal now, that it is now resistant to these embryos also, and it is also resistant to the current antiretroviral therapy that we have. So bioethics is important to prevent the emergence of such things, emergence of such issues in the environment. Therefore, Indian government has set up GEAC, which stands for Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. This works under Ministry of Environment and Forests. Head office is in New Delhi. So any research, any genetic engineering that we have to perform, its validity of any genetic engineering research has to be it has to be verified and approved by GEAC, so that its safety and the introduction of genetically modified organisms for public services can be easily regulated. Each country, they have their own such uh, committees, own such organizations. In India, that organization is known as GEAC. So genetically modified crops, they are already in cultivation in many of the countries such as USA, Europe, and even in India. So these resistant varieties, these genetically modified organisms, they are being said to create pollution. They are being said to create more diseases in human beings. Right now, the claims are not very much verified, and we need more research on this part. But the thing that is clear is bioethics, that each genetic research, it has to be approved before it can be introduced, before it can be performed. So modification or usage of living organisms for public services such as food, medicine, etc. It creates problems of pollution, increasing resistance, diseases, etc. Therefore, all researches and use of genetically modified organisms has to be pre-evaluated and pre-approved. So with this, we finish off this topic on ethical issues in GEAC. See you in next video.